welcome back to another day in the 100 days graphic design challenge. I'll be using this 1110 by 2650 for designing a roll-up banner. So very quickly, I'm just going to click create. Okay, so we have something like this. The first thing I'm going to do is to draw my rectangle. So I'm just going to click here and I'll click on this and I'll draw this rectangle very quickly from here to have something like this. I'll draw something like this. So I'm just going to change this. I'm using a gradient color, so I'll pick this and I'll change the gradient. I'll just adjust this. I'll change this color. So I'm using this and then I'll click on this one and I'm using this for this. I'm just going to hit OK very quickly. The next thing I'm going to do is to bring in another rectangle. This I'll adjust it this way and then I'll change this. I'll click here. I'm just going to I'll click here and then I'll use this, enter. So I'm just going to click on this and I'm using this. I'll click here and I'll change the color, enter. Then I'll add something at the middle edge here. Then I'll click here. Okay, I'll be using this color for this one, and then for this last one I'm going to change color so we have something like this. Okay, then I'll adjust it here to bring it at the middle. Okay, so we have something like this. Okay, so this is what we have. Next thing I'm going to do is to use my warp tool. So I'll just right click very quickly. I'll click on this and then I'll adjust this from here. I'll take it up like this. The same thing here. I'll take it up like this. Okay, to give it a curved edge. Then for this one I'll bring it down like this. I'll do the same thing here. So I'll drag this down and I'll do this as well. Then for this one I'll drag this and I'll do this one. So we have something like this. Okay, so I'm just going to drag it down here. Then I'll click on my rectangle. I'll right click. I'll use my warp tool and then I'll adjust it as well. Okay, something like this. Then I'll adjust the edge of this one as well to make it curved. Then I'll bring it this way. So we have something like this, and then I'm just going to adjust it. Okay, I'll click again and then I'll try to bring this down. Okay, So we have something like this. Then I'll click on this and I'll add a shadow. So I'll just click here to add a to drop a shadow on it. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it this way and I'm going to increase the spread and I'll increase the size. Okay, and I'll just hit enter. I'll just shift this rectangle to have something like this. So after that, next thing I'm going to do is to add my circle. So I just click here, I hold my shift and I drag this over this place, not too much. Okay, so I just have something like this and I'll bring it this way. So I'll head back to layers and I'll change this to, I'll double click on this and I'll give it an outer glow. Okay, so I'm just going to increase the size, something like this, and then I'll drop shadow on this image. Okay, so I'll just bring the angle this way. So after that, I'm just going to hit enter to have something like this. Next thing I'll do is to bring in my logo. I drop it into Photoshop like this. I'm just going to change this color. Enter. So I just brought in the rest of the images I'll be using for this design. So I'm just going to hit enter and I'll close the eyes. Okay, for this one I'll head over to filter and I'll use my camera raw filter to adjust. Okay, so I'm just going to increase the exposure, the contrast, reduce the shadows, increase the highlights. So after I'm done adjusting, I'm just going to hit OK. Then I'll drag this and I'll clip it to this particular ellipse. This is it. So I'll right click and I'll create clipping mask to have something like this. So I'm just going to hit enter. Then the next thing I'll do is to add my text here. But before that, I'll just move this inside. Okay, so I'm just going to add my text very quickly. And I'll just say Creative Service Hub. Okay, so I'll head over to Practice and then I'm going to adjust this. I'll double click on this and I'll hit enter. I'll click here, I'll change it to bold. Together with this one. And I'll give this a semi-bold. Okay. So we have something like this. Okay, just going to bring this here and I'll reduce this, enter. Then I'll click on my ellipse and I'll take it up. So I'll increase this, enter. Then I'll bring in a text here this way, and then I'm just going to adjust this. So I'm going to have something like this, and I'll leave it this way. Then I'll just bring in my rectangle. So I'll just draw a rectangle here. Okay, so after I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is to add our services. So I just click here and I'll use my alt. So I just click here and I'll use my alt. I'll change my color to this. Okay, then I'll double click. I'll erase this. Then together with this one, then I'll select this and I'll change the color to black. I'll reduce both of them to semi bold. Then I'll bring this down to have something like this. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is to add some series of rectangles that is going to have the things that we do. So I'll just click very quickly. I'll just drag this over here. Okay, so I'll just adjust it this way, and then I'll change the fill. I'll click here. I'll be using this. I'll hit enter. Okay, so I head over to my layers. I'm going to reduce this to 50. Enter. Then I'll adjust this a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to drop a shadow on this. So I click here and I'll click drop shadow. So after I'm done adjusting that, I'm just going to hit OK. Now I'll use my alt and drag. I'll use my alt and drag again. So the next thing I'm going to do is to add series of images here. So I head back to this place. So I'll just bring this here. I'll pick the three of them and I'll drag them up like this. I'm just going to adjust them together. Then I'll click on this one. I'll drag it here. I'll click on the other one. Then enter. I'll click here. I'll drag this, Ctrl Z. Now drag this here. Okay, then I'm going to click on this particular one and I'll adjust this way. So we have this and this, and make sure that at the center. Then I'm just going to change their colors. Okay, so for this one I'll click here and I'll use color overlay. I'm going to change it to this color very quickly. Enter. For this one as well, for this particular one, I'll change the color as well. Enter. And for this last one, this one, I'm going to change the color as well. Enter. So very quickly I'm going to write my text and I'll use my alt and drag. I'll bring this to the top. And I'll say graphic design. I'll change this to black. Okay, so I'll double click on this. I'm going to change this to medium and I'll change this to regular. Okay, then I'm just going to click this and I'll reduce this to have something like this. I'll hit enter. Then I'll use my alt and I'll drag and I'm going to double click and I'll change this UI/UX. Then I'll use my alt and I'll drag as well and I'll change this to then I'll use regular for this. Okay, so I'm just going to add some series of texts beneath. For that I'll just Ctrl G this and I'll drag it down. I'll click on this, Ctrl T, and I'll drag this down holding my shift. Then I'll just add some text here. So I'm just going to copy this text. I'll just use my alt and I'll drag and I'll change the color. I'll change it to black. Then I'll click on my text tool and I'll click here and I'll adjust this to have something like this. Then I'll drag it this way. Okay, then the last thing I'm going to do, okay, not the last, so I'm just going to add a little bit of text here, just a little bit. Okay, I'll reduce this to 3. Then I'll reduce the size. Okay, this is okay. I'll change this to regular. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this and I'll use my alt holding my shift. I'll use my alt holding my shift. Okay, then before I continue, I'm just going to create a new layer here and then I'm just going to add my brush tool. Okay, I'll be using this, so I'll just increase it a little bit, not too much. I'll just drop it here, drop it here, here, here. Okay, not too much. So I'll just change the color overlay. I'm going to change the color to white. So I'll just leave it at this. Okay, then I'll reduce the opacity of this so we have something that is not so visible. Okay, Then back to what we were doing. The last thing I'm going to do is to add a rectangle here. So very quickly, I just draw my rectangle like this. Okay, so I'll change this color. I'm going to be using a gradient color. So I'll click here, I'll click here, and I'll click here, and I'll take this to the edge. For this, I'll click here, I'll double click here, and then I'll give it this, enter. Then I'll double click here, and I'll give it this, enter. Okay, I'll just try to adjust this. I'll double click again. I'll take it down. It's as though it was the same color. So I'm just going to bring it this way. Have something like this. Then I'll also draw another rectangle here. So I want to draw another rectangle. So I'll just draw this above this like this. And then I'll just reduce this. I'll drop my tool, and I'll change this color first of all. I'll change it to this, and then I'll use my shift. I'll use my shift and I'll drag this down. Then I'll hold my control key and drag it this way. I'll just reduce this, or I'll just push it inside like this. Okay, so we have something like this, and then I'm just going to add a drop shadow to this image. So I'll just click here, drop shadow. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it this way, and then I'll add my text here. But before that, I'm going to add a little bit of a triangle here. So I'll change this fill to something darker. Okay, I'll hit enter. Then I'll just zoom in, and I'll take this rectangle beneath these two like this, and then I'll adjust it, tweak it. Okay, enter. So this is what we have. I'm just going to adjust that. I'll hold my control key and I'll just drag. Okay, so we have something like this. I'm just going to fit screen, sub here. Okay, so I just open it up. I'll bring it to the top. Okay, so I have this, and then I'm just going to use my tool here. I'll click on this, and then I'll just adjust this so that the rectangle won't be much. Okay, then I'll click here, I'll right click, and I'll convert to smart object. Okay, so I'm just going to reduce this. Okay, then I'll drop it here. I just brought in my location icons, the details, so I'll just paste it here. I'll hit enter. I'll reduce this. I'll bring it here, enter. Then I'll reduce this as well. Okay, I'll bring it this way. Okay, so I'm just going to hit enter. So we have this, we have this, and we have this. I'll just zoom in. Okay, I'll click on this and I'll reduce this a little bit, not too much. Enter. I'll change the color to white, and then I'm just going to add my text very quickly. So I'm just going to have something like this, and I will increase this way. Okay, I'm going to change this font. So I head over to properties and I'll give it a color. I'll hit enter. Then I'll change the color to white, and then I'll give it this. I'll use medium for it. Okay, I'll just adjust it. The same thing I'll do to this. Okay, and then for this last one, I'm just going to type. Okay, so I just have something like this. Okay, so I'm just going to increase this, not too much. Enter. Then I'll bring in this. So with that, we have come to the end of this design. See you in the next video. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.